first.
And we're up first.
Unapologetically great. Unapologetically great. Unapologetically great.
And we're up first.
Yes, ladies. That's dope. Yes, ladies. That's dope. Yes, ladies. That's dope.
And we're up first.
It's time for the ladies.
It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew.
Time for the ladies.
It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew.
One time for the ladies in the house. Two time make the people scream and shout. Lachelle, Chandra, Crystal with Nikki on boss and Nikki.
L-A-D-I-E-S, and we're up first. L-A-D-I-E-S, and we're up first.
Love that ending. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ladies First Chit Chat crew, where we honor the voice of the everyday woman. What's up, ladies? Y'all look cute in your blue.
What's on and popping?
Everybody. Good morning.
Good morning. Where is everybody coming from? Where y'all? Crystal, you got a different background. Where are you, my love?
I am in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for a
Oh,
basketball tournament at a place called Spooky Nook, where there are thousands and thousands of children, teams from, I don't know,
Everywhere.
from everywhere. And I saw really young kids here too. So we are in season in basketball. I'm a basketball mom. So there it is.
Anybody who's plays basketball, they know about Spooky Nook, so I remember it.
Spooky Nook. I actually heard that it used to be a prison or something, and that it's haunted at
I
night.
didn't know that.
yes, we love that. Speaking of sports moms, Nikki, where are you?
Well, actually, I'm out at Georgia. I didn't realize it was their homecoming. So this place is packed and lots of activity going on here. So I'm here to watch Jada play one more fall game tomorrow. So that's what I'm doing.
And you look pretty. Look at y'all.
Oh, thank you. I'm hot. I messed with the air. You know how your body temperature goes. I messed with the air and now I'm like boiling.
We'll fix it.
I tried. It's not working fast enough. I'm about to pull my hair back.
Shawnee's in a new place. It's the second week with a new spot in a new place in a new background. Hey. How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing good. I am here in North Kakalaki. North Kakalaki. That's where I am. At our new humble abode, honey. I went and visited. I got to go visit the one and only Lachelle Pop Rocks Wooten.
I'm jealous. I don't want to hear what happened.
It was so wonderful.
Oh, you should be, because we had a good time. Look, we had a good time, but the real is that I went to Lachelle's house and fell asleep on her couch for hours.
Right
and
there.
hours and hours. And I was like, it was supposed to be a quick like turnaround. Lachelle is an hour and a half away from me, so it's like straight shot. It was supposed to be a quick go and turn around trip. And I was supposed to leave at like 10 o'clock in the morning. I didn't end up leaving till like 10 o'clock at night. And but it wasn't like we was chopping and laughing and kicking. I mean, we did have that, but I was asleep.
When I tell you she was out, I was like, but I realized that she hadn't rested since she moved.
I was about to say that's
right.
what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know when you feel comfortable in someone's space or even in your own space, you can finally rest. Chad, I walked in there and I was like,
I love it.
and she was like, "Are you hungry?" I was like, "Yes."
I just kept waking her up to feed her.
Shelly's back home. Shelly, you're back home.
Yes. And I'm happy to be here. It feels good in my space. Shawnee was here. Keisha was here. Now my other sister, Gabby, is here. It's her birthday weekend. So we're going to have some fun. Our show is the kickoff to us getting into flow.
Oh my goodness. Wait, before we move on to where Nikki is, I don't think you shared with the audience what you did last week, which was really dope.
Mm-hmm. What did I do last week? Because I don't remember what I did last night.
Where were you and your mom?
Yeah, where were you last week?
Oh, thank you. Because I didn't remember. I went to Washington, D.C. last week to see my youngest son, Kassar, present his research that he did over the summer at a convention called Physics Congress. Short, they call it PhysCon. There were 1,200 students from across the country there, and about 100 got selected to present their research. And my son was one of them. So he presented research for anyone out there who's a science buff on Fermi bubbles around a black hole that is outside of our galaxy. I don't know what that means, but people were impressed. And so was I. So that's what I did, me and Murdy. I don't know. Astrophysics is like, we speak a love language, me and him. And I just sort of sit quietly and study at the hem of his garment as he talks about these things that seem so foreign to me, but are so native to him. So it was wonderful.
That is wonderful. I love these moms basking in the glory and supporting their children. I love it. I can't wait till it's my turn.
It's your turn. You up next. You got next.
I have to say, I did get in some girl time. I had lunch with my besties yesterday when I got off the plane. I'm spending the day with another one of my besties and my daughter today. So it's not all about the
kids. That's right.
I love.
Where you at, Nikki?
Yeah, Nikki, where are you?
Ask me again.
Where's she at?
Called me yesterday. Shawnee was supposed to call me. She didn't call me to see where I was.
Well, I did. Once you called Lachelle, and I was like, oh, she on her way. And then the next thing I know, I was watching the back of my eyelids.
That is a fact. She's like, I'm gonna call her too. She said an hour, okay, and then that was it.
Well, where I am today goes perfectly with our title today. Let's get into the show and I'll talk about where I am. This is our third part of our shift series. Week 1, we talked about the changes that are happening externally will force you to make the changes internally. Why, Crystal? Why? Because shift happens, right?
I wasn't ready. Okay, yeah, shift happens. Yeah. I was like, why?
Y'all know y'all gotta be ready, right, Shawnee? Why?
Don't do that.
I told you, booty clenched. Okay.
We gotta be ready. And then
tell us to stop doing that. I was like, what happened?
We love doing that to us. Listen, we are viewers just as much as we are hosts.
Okay. What? Well, week 1 in our shift series, we talked about shift happens when things happen externally to us, we are forced to end up changing what's going on internally. Week 2, we talked about listening to the signs that are telling us that it's time to shift, or you will be pushed or dragged out of the cocoon. And in our final week of the shift, we are recognizing and acknowledging and celebrating the moves we are making. What did Nikki say? I like it's the way that she moves. It's the way that we move. And today we are talking about the beauty of finding your flow. And if anybody has made changes, the external shifts that have caused the internal shifts, and then, are seeing where they are and getting pushed out of the cocoon and recognizing the beauty of finding the flow. It's the ladies' first chit chat crew. Can you tell me if this photo right here is not the beauty of finding your flow? Can you tell me? Can I get an amen?
That
we
photo
look so fly.
That photo went up, and I can't tell you how many text messages and DMs I got that was like, "What? Where do we get this energy? Are y'all selling that in a bottle, honey?"
I mean, I really believe when I saw that picture yesterday to do the flyer, I was like, if this is not the epitome of the beauty of finding your flow, I really believe as a sisterhood and as sisters and as a show and where we're going, we are getting in the rhythm of finding our flow. And I'm so grateful that and blessed for that. And I'm blessed with this series because we all know the first week I talked about things that happened in my life externally that forced me to shift internally. And we talked about last week recognizing those things that end up dragging you to move out of the cocoon. And on our Thursday talk, we talked about when everything shifts, you shift. Everything shifts when you shift. And as a result of me shifting, I have a office space that I am so excited about. I am a member of WeWork, and I would always be look at Shani. I would always be at WeWork, and the people are like, Nikki, you need a space. You need a space. And I was talking to my new employee, Rebecca, about it. And she was like, you need a space. And I was timid about it. I was scared. And then the day when Shelly said to me, we're working in prosperity and abundance, my mindset started shifting. I started shifting. And then this amazing opportunity came from WeWork. We got months for free, percentage off. And I looked and I was able to be open because I was shifting. I wasn't talking about the day of money. I was able to see, we all know I'm about to move. But I looked and I said, okay, when I move into this space and my WeWork space, I can comfortably be in a place, shift in a place where I can be able to have this abundance and prosperity and be able to take care of everything at the same time. And I believe that this all happened as a result of everything shifts when you shift. And because I've been open to shift, all these things are coming into place. So I got to work on my lighting. But look at New York City in the background. And Bloomingdale.
It's beautiful. The background's beautiful.
Your lighting is New York, baby.
Please
no more red lady in the back.
I was about to say, I do not miss the red lady, honey.
This is your background.
This is my background. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so today we're talking about the beauty of finding your flow. Let's get into it, y'all. I'm gonna throw it to you. I won't choose anyone, but I want someone to tap into the fact of the shift that you have made and recognizing where you are now and the beauty of your flow. We've been stuck. Some of us have been stuck. Everybody been stuck but Shelly. But we have been finding that flow. I want someone to jump in.
Skipping her.
I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'll be back.
Give me a sip. Listen, I'll go first on that. I think what I have realized in my shift is that when you are in divine flow, when you are like really flowing where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, who's supposed to be helping you along the way, all the things that go into you being right in alignment with where you're supposed to be. It's so easy. Like there's no hard. What is hard is what we make hard. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll continue to use this example right now because that's what's so prevalent and relevant in my life right now. Is that this move? had talked about it and had thought about it, and when we made the decision, it literally was just like things just started to align and get in place. And every time we would do something, it would just be like, okay, yes. Oh, ask somebody something. Okay, yes. Or, try to figure out how much we needed to do whatever it was. And then that's the amount that showed up in the mail the next day. Like literally stuff like that. And I was just like, this move is aligned and where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing, because literally not one thing has been, well, everyone, the only things that have been like stressful is stuff that I've made stressful or we've made stressful. Everything else has literally been flowing. I mean, I told you guys, we were talking about money and what we needed and how much we needed to do this and how much we needed to do that. And I literally was just like, we're gonna have it. It's gonna be there. Well, everything we need to do to take care of everything in New York will be fine, and everything we need to do to take care of North Carolina will be fine. And literally, checks start coming in the mail. Literally, my father just was like, "Go check your account." I hadn't even talked to my dad. He was like, "Go check your account." I checked my account. He put 2 months rent in our account. Just like, I just know you guys are moving and doing what you need to do. I want you to be okay, and to take care of everything. And everybody knows my wife is the sole breadwinner in our home right now. She took me off, when she allowed me not to go back to work in theater, it was like she took on the responsibility of like everything. And so my dad was like, I know she's doing a lot, so here, you guys don't need to worry about that. And I was just like, oh, thank you, God. Oh, hallelujah. Going all in. But it's just one of those things, like, when I feel like now it's just a pure example of when you're in the flow of where you are supposed to be, everything will happen to get you to where you're supposed to be. People will show up, money will arrive, doors will open, carpets will be rolled out for you. Like, everything will be in its place to get you where you need to be when you are just going ahead and walking that line.
I agree with you, Shani, and I thank you, Dad. That's amazing. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad. And I can relate with you. Look at Denise said, "Amen." God provides. God does provide, and I'm right with you with this divine flow. When we said everything shifts when you shift. Everyone knows I'm very close with my mother. She's watching right now. What's up, Miss Pat? She hasn't been able to watch the last 2 weeks because she was at homecoming. She was living her best life. She was shifting. She and Miss Elizabeth were shifting and doing their thing. But anyway, hey y'all. When everyone knows I'm very close with my mother, and my mother has been extremely supportive of what I've done all my life, even when she agrees to disagree. But I had a shift in the way that I communicate with my mom a couple weeks ago. I sometimes, when you guys know, when things get like this, I have a tendency to be like, I called my mom that day. I told her what was going on. I told her where I was going, what was happening, what was doing. And even the way she responded to me and how we troubleshoot and problem solve this thing, it was like, But I realized when Shani was talking, it was because I was shifting, even in the way that my thinking, even in the way that I talked to my mom. I was talking facts instead of getting into my feelings. And we were able to have a conversation. And she was, when Shani was talking, I was like, wow, that's what that was. When it says everything shifts when you shift, even the relationship with my mother and how we are corresponding and working like business partners is shifting. You know what I mean? Amen. Hallelujah. Divine flow. Here we go. Who's next? I'm sorry. Denise said, my shift is truly finding my inner peace after a year of turmoil. I love that. Rebecca said, we flowed right into WeWork. We sure did. And Edmay says, what's up, Edmay? We are mostly made of water. Water moves. What did Nikki say? And I like the way she moves and mold to the space it is given. Therefore, we shift as we move. I love that. We shift as we move.
I
Who is
love
coming
that,
up?
Edme.
So good,
I
Edme.
love that.
And it's so funny. I probably say it every week, but a mutual friend of Lachelle and I, she shared that with me as a birthday gift. She said, you know, Crystal, be water. Water doesn't stop when it encounters a rock. It continues to flow, it goes around it. And it was a real powerful statement, because then I realized in times of the rocks coming, because they do, right? Boulders, mountains, sometimes it doesn't stop water from being water. So things will happen. You know, this is life. And what I've noticed is that, you know, really perhaps, you know, a little before um my birthday, which was in August, I started feeling like that. And her saying that to me kind of solidified what the shift I needed to do. You're right, Nikki. You know, it is everything shifts. The shifting has to happen with you first. And I started saying, like, okay, this isn't about emotions first and all of these things. It might be about gathering yourself, but really the position is, it's not passive. It's not like, oh, I'm just not going to say nothing and then you met whatever. That's not the same as flowing. um and what I'm seeing every day in every situation. Listen, all of us are, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're not going to share on this show. Okay, stuff is going on for everybody except Lachelle. You know I love you, girl. Listen, but you are a guidepost for a lot of things and how they can be handled. So I
Exactly. Yes.
I say that with such love, because it is very natural for some of us to get into the emotional part first, but the flow is really important. And what I'm finding is the time. Let me give you this example. When my son was like little, like every part of his life, he's a joyous kid, right? He's a fun kid. He's the kid. You have no idea the amount of birthday parties he gets invited to. Like, he's the dude you want everywhere, right? And when he was like 8, he enjoyed being 8. When he was 10, he enjoyed being 10. He just enjoyed it, right? One day I took him to the doctor's appointment. I picked him up from school, and when we got to the doctor's appointment, he's filthy. He had holes in his pants, and the doctor looked at him. He said, "You look like you had a really good time today." And he's like, "I did." And I said to myself, wow, when I was 8, I couldn't wait to be 10. When I was 10, I couldn't wait to be 12. I was 12, I couldn't wait to be 15. You know what I mean? Like, not enjoying where you are. There's a good thing about the energy of anticipation, but there's something else when you're not really enjoying the journey. And what my flow now is, even in, whoo, I just got chills and tears. It is not about the rushing of this other thing. It is very much about, like, driving to Pennsylvania last night for 3 hours, and the conversation we were having, the talking, some, you do road trips and you might be singing or whatever. Remember the road trip we had coming back to New York from DC? It is part of the journey, is interesting, and enjoying that is flow. And if it's hard, and sometimes it can be, then it's just like, okay, there's a lesson from this that is going to help me where I'm going, but I need to flow. I need a beat, though. Let me just say, I need a beat. I need a beat to just be like, okay, I'm real mad right now. Like, human Crystal shows up, but I need to be able to be in flow, because I need to be able to show my son how to do that. My daughters how to do that. What if my friends, what if part of what my experience is I need to come to Crystal because I don't know how to flow. And I'll be like, okay, that's what sisterhood is. Let me tell you. And I feel better even in times that are adverse to what flow feels like, because I feel like I'm choosing it, and then I feel better.
I love that. You said something a moment ago about, I love the whole enjoying the journey. And that's a part of your flow. I loved when you guys said, your friend said, be water. Water continues to flow even when it hits a rock. I feel that visual. And you said something too that made me think about what we talked about last week, recognizing the difference between discomfort and pain. You know, when things are challenging, like you said, that's discomfort and that's growth. You know, that's growth. That's a part of the flow. That's a part of the rock. You know, when that rock hits, when that challenge hits, you get to sit. You know that if you're flowing in the right place, when that growth and that discomfort is, you can recognize it as growth and keep flowing. And when it's pain and we're allowing our flow to stop and just won't go past the rock, that's when we get to say, we got to shift. You know what I'm saying? I was just thinking about what you just said, relating it back to last week and how you are flowing, Chrissy. And when I talked to you the other day, just even when I think it was a couple weeks ago, even the choices you are making, you have me making different choices and wanting to flow. You have me thinking about what I'm going to say, because if I'm going to say that, that's going to stop my flow. So I think you're so right. Sometimes not sometimes, Shelly, and Nikki, I want to hear what you think. We're in this position of flow, not just for us, but like you said, to help your sister. When Shawnee talked a couple of weeks ago, it made me think about something so I could shift, so I could be in a better flow. When I keep talking about this prosperity and abundance, sometimes we do things not only for ourselves, but to support the people around us and in front of us, and also to be examples in that flow. Yep.
I couldn't agree more. It's interesting to think the water analogy is so good, because think about water that is still. Like, have you ever been to like a lake or a pond where the water is still and it's murky and it's green and there's bugs trapped in it and all of that? Is how you feel when you are not mentally allowing yourself to flow, because the flow is going to happen. Like, things are going to keep moving, right? Things will keep moving. Even when you hit your brakes on a car, it still takes some time before it can actually stop, right? And you are intentionally trying to stop it. And so the best thing to do for me is to just ride with the flow. It can make you anxious, right? I will say that the flow that I'm in right now is a slow flow. You all know I went to London at the end of August, beginning of September. And I was just saying to a friend of mine yesterday, I have not plugged back in to like my work and business flow. Like, I just can't. But at the same time, right, there's this little thing in my head that's saying, shouldn't you be bringing in money? But I really have made a commitment to prosperity and abundance. And I was like, the universe knows what I need and I know what I need, but I have to really focus on the flow. So there's been this very slow thing happening with me, right? I've had a lot of company here lately, but they're all coming to me, which is great, right? And I'm enjoying them, but my flow is slow right now. And like Shawnee and her dad, praise the Lord, and like Nikki with WeWork, with the free months and the discount on the rest, I literally got two. Now, here's the crazy thing. I got two actual paper checks in the mail. When's the last time you saw a paper check? I haven't seen a paper check in I don't know how long, right? I got a refund from something. And then I did a workshop for a friend of mine a week and a half ago for her business. And she was like, could you come and speak to the people in my program? I was like, sure. Got on Zoom, spoke to her, boom, had a great time. Her business partner texted me the next day and said, you were amazing. Thank you so much. Can you send me your address? And I'm thinking, oh, they're going to send me like a candle or flowers. No, honey, they sent me a check. Like, I had no clue. I mean, I thought I was just hopping on. I mean, I was just hopping on to lend what I can lend to their program. And they sent me a check. So I'm comfortable in even being in a slow flow, right? And I want to make that point, because sometimes we actually try to predict the pace. And we can't do that because sometimes when we think we have to speed up, especially us as women, we have to speed up, we have to get it done, we got to make sure we hit these targets, these marks, these deadlines. Sometimes the right flow for you is the slowdown, is the reprieve, is the retreat, is the rest. So I just want to make a point of us remembering that sometimes the uneasy may even come from the pace of the flow, even when we are committing to allowing the flow, right? Flow is never wrong. So if it's slow, if it's fast, if it's moving you, if it's sitting you down, stick with it, because it is ultimately developed and created to support you, protect you, and move you to where you're supposed to go next. So I'm in a slow flow.
And are you enjoying being in the slow flow?
Oh God, I'm loving it. I
know
love it so much. I almost said to myself, are you shutting down your business? Because I'm like, this is so good. I didn't even know I did a slow flow.
The reason why I asked is because I just heard this thing about eating an ice cream cone. Like, if you think about, if you eat ice cream and you like ice cream cones, like, you should really be enjoying it, right? Like every part of it. And if your favorite part is the bottom, whatever, and sometimes people rush through it so it doesn't drip. Sometimes the drip is kind of dope, you know? And I was like, that is really what you're saying. And it was what I was saying. The journey is also important, because you probably didn't even realize that you were in a more rushed flow than, but I think that's important, because I'm in a similar place, by the way. Like I'm not as, but I think it's almost by choice, and then I'm receiving what I'm putting out. Like the flow is a little different. I just wanted to ask you about the enjoyment of it, because I think that's important.
I am loving it. And interestingly enough, you all know, like, I live on my balcony, but even being on my balcony feels different, right? It's like I've gone from like an ocean flow to like maybe a bay, right? And it just feels
wow,
right? I'm not even in a river. River has more movement than like a bay. And it is really good for me. And you know what it's telling me in my spirit is that the flow is preparing me for like a river, like something, you know, there's something that's gonna take more energy, and I'm gonna have to have maybe more input and more movement that I have to put in. But it's like letting me take my rest so that I can enjoy that part of the flow too, and not hit it
on your couch.
Exactly, like Shawnee on my couch. Exactly.
I love that, Shelly. Look, Denise says, during the flow, just take one day at a time and enjoy it while you can. Ed May said the drip. I know, I like, Crystal, I like that too. The drip is dope. And Miss Elizabeth, hey, Miss Elizabeth, acknowledge the rate of your flow, embrace it, and go along with it. I love that. Acknowledge the rate of your flow, embrace it, and go along with it. Nikki Boss, talk to us, baby. How you doing? Tell us a little bit about your flow.
You know, it's interesting, Lachelle, when you were speaking, the whole time, all I've been thinking, listen to everybody, is just breathe. You need to let your life breathe sometimes. You need to just sit back and see the pulse of what's happening, you know? And just let, like, if you can almost visualize it. And with that, it goes along with what you were saying. You know, that's why I thought it was so interesting you started talking about the rate in which your flow is moving. Because I think often, many times, people don't sit back and just let life breathe. We react. We're always trying to make something happen, do something, follow up on something, but we don't let life breathe. And in doing that, there's a flow that just naturally will happen if you allow it to. And with that, and you align it to what y'all was saying, which I think I'm gonna think about a lot today, about being water and how when water hits a rock, it continues to flow. That will happen naturally as well. Recently, just in different conversations, it's easy for people to talk about finding their flow, but it's not so easy for everybody. I was speaking to someone even just this morning that was explaining to me the self-talk that they have with themselves on a daily basis to help themselves to be able to allow, in my words, themselves to flow. But a lot of that has to do with putting trust in the unknown of an unmanaged outcome.
That's deep.
That's deep.
There are people, other people who don't need the self-talk. They can embrace life for what it is, as it is, the moment they get to that point. And therefore, their flow begins to flow very heavily because they've now let go. So I guess the message that I wanted to share as I thought about the conversations I had today, when I think about myself and just other conversations I've had recently, it's easy for us to have a conversation about finding your flow, but it's also just as important for everybody to understand that it's not just a matter of, I guess it's what I want to say, it's individual. But I do believe it comes back to something that not everybody does very well, and that's letting life breathe. And if you really get it, if you let life breathe and you watch and you can see the pulse, you see things so much differently. Your reaction to what's happening will be different.
It's funny you say that. It makes me think about the first time we met Lachelle's friend Grace. And I remember walking into her home. And I don't know if you remember, Shelly. I was like, can I hug you?
Yes, I remember that.
I remember I was in a space where I saw Rebecca's thing. It says, only time the parasites appear in water is when it's stagnant. I was in a place where my water was not flowing, but I was pretending that it was flowing, but it was not flowing. But I could feel everything Nikki said. When we walked into her home, I felt this energy. I felt this flow. I felt this woman that allows her life to breathe.
Yes.
And I listened to what Nikki said. I was like, I remember the first time, besides people that I knew, this was one of the first times I've met someone new, and I felt that. And it was her energy of breath that was one of the first times I realized, oh, I ain't flowing. I mean, that's not what I was saying, but I realized that I was not flowing just by the abundance of this woman's breath and flow. And when Nikki was just talking, it just made me think that, what have I seen that? Have I felt that? Am I doing that? That's what I'm asking.
Are you doing it?
Yeah.
And the reason why I want to emphasize that is because it's now very clear to me. It wasn't clear to me this morning when I was having the conversation I was having, but it's clear to me now because a lot of reasons why people are we're talking about how you're shifting and how you're flowing now may have come from, something that has hurt you, something that has forced you to change, something that is happening to you, right? Some people go into mode of, I have to manage this. Okay, this is what's happening now. This is what has to happen next. This is what I got to do. But if you just sit back and give yourself like that moment to just really see and not try to manage everything to something that you can actually physically touch and make happen, just live in the here and now, you might have a very different outcome. And you might even experience the journey a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But not everybody can get to that same place at the same time. And it's okay.
It is. And I think one of the things that we've been doing weekly, we've been giving people a point or a step, suggesting a point or a step to do that. So funny. Angie just said, Angie, we must be on the same level. I'm learning to extend grace to myself. Like what?
That's huge.
That's huge. Angie, I am too. I'm learning to extend grace to myself.
Because you want to own what's happening. Even if you don't think you want to own, sometimes people want to own it because they're looking for that excuse to allow themselves to be okay with what they're doing.
So what do we suggest? We all are in different places, like Nikki said. Shelly, what do we suggest? What's that step? Because we can say all we want to. I want to flow and I need to breathe and I need to do this, but don't do shit. What do you suggest?
I have a recommendation and a suggestion that everybody should try, and it's simple and it's small. When something is occurring, right? Something's happening, someone's saying something to you, someone's asking you for something, someone is doing something that you would naturally, instinctually feel like, okay, I have to react. Don't, right? Literally, if someone says something to you, how many times, just let me give some examples to really illuminate this. How many times has someone asked you a question and you don't know the answer, but you immediately start thinking about what you want to say to respond, right? Am I going to say I don't know the answer? Am I going to tell them what I think the answer is? You just immediately start responding, but at the onset when they ask you the question, you don't have an answer for it. That is just a tiny example of just don't react. Like literally.
That's basically, it's the same thing I'm saying, because I was going to make sure everyone understood, Nikki. I'm not telling people to breathe.
No.
I'm telling people to let life breathe. Because if you let whatever's happening happen without any reaction at all, you see what you need to see.
Correct. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. So pick something every day that you are not going to react to.
You just sit back and
comment from a coworker. This happened to me one time. I got in my car to go to a party of my niece's, and my car wouldn't start. I just sat there. I literally just sat there.
I'm right there with
you. In the car that I had to bring to the party, and I literally just sat there. I don't know how long I sat there. It was definitely a few minutes. And then my friend and her husband called to say, hey, what's the address again? And I told them, and then they said, okay, well, we're on our way. I said, I should be, but my car won't start. And her husband said, where are you at? We'll come pick you up. And they did. They came about 10 minutes later. We put my stuff in their car. I left my car. I didn't think about my car again. And I had a beautiful day. And don't you know, when I went back the following day and I was going to my car because I was going to call AAA, and you need to be with your car when you call, the car started.
And I'd also say, you're either going to find when you do this, you'll see something you've been missing all along, or you'll see something that you've been avoiding letting happen all along.
Yes. So don't react. That's my tip. Try to
let it happen.
Not react. Just let the situation unfold.
I love that, letting the situation unfold, because the other question is, when you do allow yourself to let the situation unfold, you really have to let the situation unfold. You can't just car don't start, sit there. God damn, you really gotta just sit. You can't. The ideal is when you let it unfold, let it unfold. Don't complain about it. Don't talk about it. Don't pick up the phone and say, do you know what just let it sit.
And you know what happened to me in that moment when I reflected the next day and I went back to the car with the AAA card in my hand and the car started? It made me realize that the day before, although it was a day for my niece and her birthday, I was tired. And I literally, Ed came, he took the stuff from my trunk to the back of his Jeep. I sat in the back seat. He drove me. He carried the stuff out. I literally got to relax. But my way, had I reacted, I would have called AAA. I would have called my sister. I would have been like, okay, I'm late, but I'm going to see maybe I'll get an Uber. And I didn't realize that I needed to like rest until I just sat there. So that's what I want y'all to try and do. Try not
see
to
what
react.
you need to see. Don't react. See what you need to see.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, you'll see it, and then you'll make better decisions.
You make better decisions.
That's when you start to flow, actually.
Yeah.
That's when you start to flow, depending on the decisions you make. Because you could either, want to mask it, want to fix it, whatever. You're not flowing then. But if you really see what you're supposed to see.
I have a question. I know for me, I'm in a flow state. I am beginning to enjoy the journey. Beginning to enjoy. It's not that I haven't enjoyed the journey before, but I was in a stagnant place and the parasites were jumping on me. And I am in a flow phase right now. And I was walking down the street yesterday and I almost felt uncomfortable because I was in a flow phase. I was like,
that makes sense.
I was so uncomfortable.
Unfamiliar.
You want other people to be there with you?
No, it's not that.
I know.
It was so familiar. And it was like I was flowing. And remember, she didn't see the show the first week. Remember I told you when I saw my mom in DC, I felt like she was gliding across the floor. Like I saw the power, I saw the flow in my mom. I was feeling like that walking down Lexington Avenue yesterday. I was like, I'm feeling like
this good, didn't it?
I'm flowing. And yeah, it
didn't feel heavy.
It didn't feel
like
heavy.
You were carrying a weight behind you.
It didn't. But then I got uncomfortable. All of a sudden, I stopped. It was the devil. I stopped at the red hand, and I was like, "Is something else supposed to be happening?" And then I had a shiny moment. I went to the mailbox, and there was a check there that I wasn't expecting. I knew it was one check, but then it was another check, and I was like. So I was like, whoo, I'm flowing. I'm uncomfortable, but let's keep going,
But you weren't.
That's the key word. Flow ain't necessarily comfortable.
But you weren't in pain.
But you weren't in pain.
Discomfort.
That's right. I was not in pain. Let's see what our viewers are saying. Energy is from within. If the inside is positive, then positive results will come. Just believe, let go, and let it happen. As long as the origin is good, the outcome will be good. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even if things are not good, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you let it go and let it happen, there's your opportunity to make things the way they need to be for you.
It'll course correct itself.
It will course correct. Just see what you're supposed to see. Let yourself see what you're supposed to see.
I gotta write that down, Nikki. See what
That's key. Let yourself see what you're supposed to see.
Or you doing this, what you're supposed to see is still right there, whether you looking or not.
Right there, whether you looking or not.
Yeah.
And then when you see it, remember to still be thankful.
Yep. Denise says, a woman in harmony with her spirit is like a river flowing. Oh, she did a Maya Angelou. Yes. A woman in harmony with her spirit is like a river flowing. She goes where she will without pretense and arrives at her destination, prepared to be herself and only herself. I love that. A woman in harmony with her spirit is like a river flowing. She goes where she will without pretense and arrives at her destination, prepared to be herself and only herself. I am stealing that. Look who is in. Thank you, Denise. Look who is in the house this morning. Hey, hallelujah. Miss Murdy. Wow. The advice is awesome. The lesson is so clear. Thank you, ladies. I am breathing.
I miss Murdy.
Yes, look at that. Thank you, Nick, for adding that. You said just breathe before, but something about it today
Well, just breathe
really
is for
different.
you when you need to find space for yourself. Today, I'm saying let life breathe. We stop sometimes
We do.
what is the inevitable to happen in life, whether it's we stop our way of it happening within our sight, we stop it from actually physically happening because we, intercept the action, we do something that covers up something, whatever the case may be, we get into an argument and then we try to fix it because, whatever like we're always band-aiding life, right? But especially when things happen more than once, just let life breathe because it's obviously something there you need to see that you haven't seen, but you got to be ready for it. Not everybody's ready at the same time, but you'll know. And when you are ready, you need to see what you haven't let yourself see.
Look who got the pastoral robe on today.
I know. Okay, Bishop.
Unbossed, unconfused,
unbothered. Y'all, this has been a great series. Great series. And what a way to end in talking about I am breathing and flowing. I am breathing and flowing. Shani talked about going into the divine flow. Chrissy talked about enjoying the ride. Oh my goodness. Shelly, say that nugget you told us. Just let it. Would you say just
don't
sit?
react? Don't react.
That's
just
it.
React. Right?
Don't
like
react.
Don't react.
Let it all happen.
And let it do what Nikki Unbossed said. Let life breathe.
Breathe.
It will show you the way.
Ooh, we got the divine flow, enjoying the ride. Don't react and just breathe. It will show you the way. Thank you, ladies. Thank you to our viewers. Next week, grab a friend next week, y'all, because we got a new topic next week. And next week we are launching our t-shirts next week. So come on, we're gonna show them off, and we're gonna have our site up and everything ready to go. Ladies, anybody want to say anything before we leave?
Have a beautiful, easy weekend.
Yeah. Have a beautiful, easy weekend. Bye, everyone. We love you. And we'll see you next week, right? We will see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
what you want. Unbossed. Speak what you want. Unbossed. And we're up first. Unapologetically great. Unapologetically great. Unapologetically great. And we're up first. Yes, ladies. That's dope. Yes, ladies. That's dope. Yes, ladies. That's dope. And we're up first. It's time for the ladies. It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew. Time for the ladies. It's the ladies first Chit-Chat crew.
One time for the ladies in the house. Two time make the people scream and shout. Lachelle, Chandra, Crystal with Nikki on Boss and Nikki.
Bye, everyone. Have a great Saturday.
Bye.
And flow. Hey.